Hey folks, it's Steve Wilmes and Matt Kieta. We're here with another episode of the Risk Control Show, and I'm talking really fast because I wanted to hand this over to Matt, and Matt's going to talk to us about.
OSHA complaints versus citations.
All
Although,
right.
although I gotta tell you, I think you have a real great handle on this one, Steve. I'd let you go with this one.
Yeah, but I want to know what you know about this because it's important that you know about it too. Let's see what you got.
It's that complaints are basically that initiates that process. So when you have a complaint,
That process. You're talking in real general terms here. What
I
process?
am the process by which OSHA will come in and do an investigation. So this a complaint might initiate a visit from OSHA.
Good.
So, and once OSHA's there, of course, and we have courses on this, how to handle this, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about this, how you should handle OSHA when they arrive. But the point is that they're going to come in and perform an investigation, and from that investigation, they are going to determine if there were any violations of OSHA code, OSHA regulations, anything that is citable. And in that turn, they will then, if they determine that there was a potential violation of the code, they will actually send a citation to the agency.
Yeah.
So the citation, of course, can have varying levels of seriousness based on the level of infraction that they've determined has happened, and that initiates the follow up process where the agency must engage with OSHA to correct the matter and address any issues that OSHA may have, and potentially, if it's determined that there was a fault here that needed to be addressed, you may need to pay fines as a result of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty good, and I think that's what most people would understand. There's a lot of
Mhm.
nuance to it. I'm one of the individuals that actually writes responses to both, goes out and does abatements for our clients, writes appeals, talks to the judges, informal hearings with district managers of Cal OSHA or OSHA. The story and the drum goes on, the beat goes on. you know, the there's some concepts here, and I think for people that are just starting to handle these, as you may know, there's a bunch of inspectors added to Cal OSHA a while
Mhm.
back. They really got their legs under them now, so more of these things are occurring. You're seeing more public agencies being, I'll use the word targeted, for lack of a better term.
Right,
Um, and
right.
and the concept there is, yeah, there's some real nuances to these two, um, and that can be beneficial and it can be detrimental. As you said, a complaint can lead to an investigation, and how you
Yep.
handle that complaint is important. So, uh, just going back, we'll take a step back, and the first thing we'll address is there are, a couple ways that you get an inspection from OSHA, and the there's three generally, and those three ways are that when you are required, notified, and required, and this was a whole nother podcast topic we could do, and read our blog post on it, because this you can go down a rabbit hole too. Um, Certain agencies have to report numbers, and they get a request from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or DIR, Department of Industrial Relations, to keep their OSHA logs and report those at the end of the year. You'll receive that notice prior to the beginning of the January 1st year, the calendar year. Even if it doesn't roll with your fiscal year, you're on a calendar year for this type of thing. If you are higher than average, for your industry, on number of claims or incidents or time away from work or whatever that log is there to track, then you will be put on an inspection list, and depending on where you fall on that list, it may be more imminent than not for the inspection. So that's one way. The second way, which is the OSHA complaint, right? So you have a bunch of the first is you have a bunch of incidents, and now you're on the list because you're higher than normal, or you have a few incidents but you can't get people back to work, or they're very serious, so you're higher than normal, so you're on the list. The second is an employee doesn't like what you're doing one way or another, and really employee complaints to OSHA are rare. The biggest way that you get an employee complaint to OSHA is that you don't listen to your employees.
Yes.
You don't genuinely listen to what they're telling you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then, okay, well, screw you. I have rights here. And so I'm going to report it to OSHA. And it's usually, usually there's something there, unfortunately. There usually is something there. And if you would have listened and resolved the problem, you'd have good relations with your employees and you wouldn't have this process starting. So that's the second one. An employee complaint can lead to an investigation. We're going to talk about that complaint versus the citations.
Right.
The next is you have a serious accident and the fire department shows up, or the police department shows up, or you make a call to OSHA because of this incident. So now you put them on notice that you've had an incident and they want to come out and do an inspection / investigation, however you want to call that. So those are the triggers. There's those three for why OSHA would visit your site. And those then lead into a bigger process. So complaint. A complaint it's a formal process. It's a lot less formal than the citation. And typically a complaint is a notice. It's a warning. It leans heavy on the side of the employer. If you have a solid response and can show that you've taken care of the issue, OSHA doesn't. They're like, okay, we got this complaint. Please tell us that you've done things that need to be done and you're doing the right things so that we can just get rid of this and we don't have to come out and look at you, because we're busy and we only have 2 inspectors and we got a lot more serious things going on. You should be able to handle this. Go talk to your employee and get this resolved. You don't need us for this, but because we've been contacted, we're going to notify you, and now we want to hear what you have to say. And so it better be good. And so the complaint will usually come in the form of a letter, and it says, this is a complaint. Here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items that we would like you to address. Please respond to us in so many days, usually 10 to 15 days. And if you write that response, then the complaint goes, okay, you're good. You post that complaint and away you go. Right? This is not a citation. There's no penalties involved at this point. So that's the complaint. Very simple. Very, very simple. Can I find one that's online? I don't want to show any that we are currently working on. Or
of course.
Maybe you can, take a peek. Yeah, take a peek take a peek. And pick a private agency. Don't pick any of our clients. Anyway, you'll see these complaints, and that's really what it is. It's an employee complaint that you get response from OSHA, and they're just saying, hey, what have you done here? What's going on here? Can tell us about it. That's the easy part. A citation can be issued following any of those items, right? So you can talk on the phone with OSHA and disclose that you haven't done what you're supposed to do. You can and we see this all the time too. social media. Hey, look at what we're doing, right?
Right.
we have
Right.
we have our clients, and we'll see the social media post, and you're like, what the hell are you guys doing? I can see right here, like, you should have a hard hat on, and you don't have a hard hat on. What are you like? Who is that guy? Oh, well, he was just there for the. Yeah, why does he not have a hard hat? And why are you posting this on the media platform for everybody in the world to see? Now you have provided documentation and proof that you're in violation of the standard, and so yes, they can cite you on that, right? The proof is right there in the pudding. So you have these citations that come in, and basically the citation is issued after a finding of an investigation inspection where, as Matt indicated, they've gone through. There's a standard in OSHA. Let's just take heat illness 3395, and they say you're supposed to provide water. They go out. There's no shade structure. There's no water. You go, you're in violation. This is a citation. Now, there's a bunch of different types of citations: serious, non-serious, serious and willful, criminal, all of these types of things. And I've defended all of them, and you don't want to be anywhere near any of them. The point being is the citation will have a fine associated with it. You have to do many things, show that it's been abated, defend yourself, try to negotiate with the district manager, have an informal conference there, have a hearing with the judge, and then go to trial if you really are adamant that you're in the right and OSHA's in the wrong.
Right.
So that being said, the citation will state on the top of the form, citation, notice of citation, and it will list out item 1 of 1, item 1, or item 2 of 1, right? So there can be multiple, like your IAPP, you could have just on that single item, you could have 3 or 4 sub items under there. So the citation will lay that out just like the complaint, but it is now saying we find you in violation, and now you need to pay this fine. And that's a whole nother topic that you go down. Do you pay the fine? Do you appeal? What happens if you agree to these issues? If it's classified as serious and you agree, how does that affect your history and faith down the road? Good faith is part of this process. Historical instances is part of the process. Size of your agency is part of the process. So all of these things come into play. The biggest difference is a complaint is not a citation. A complaint is notice that they believe something is not up to snuff with your safety programs. And you have an opportunity at that point to respond. You also have an opportunity to respond to citations, but usually they're going through the process, right? You'll get a request for documents. And again, whole nother topic there, how you should handle that. But you really should make sure that it's in writing, that it's mailed to you. A lot of these inspectors now are just like, hey, send me this, send me that, send me this over email, and people are sending stuff. Don't be offering things that aren't formally requested. So the idea there is not, my thought with OSHA is always, I'd rather put the money in correcting the problems and having better safety programs than paying fines. So you don't want to do that. So complaint is a notice that something is suspected to be wrong, and you need to address that. It's more informal. Sometimes you can call the person that issued, the district manager, and just say, hey, I want to talk about this. I'll write it up after, but what are you looking at? And then the citation process starts with an inspection, of finding, and then goes into issuing those penalties. They have 6 months from the time of the inspection to issue the citation. So when you have an organization that's trying to self-fund through penalties and fines, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to find every little thing that they can to write a citation on. It's
Yep.
their job. And so many times I hear, oh, well, the inspector is very nice. Don't misunderstand me. There's a lot of nice police officers too. When they pull you over, their job is to issue you a citation if you've done something wrong. And so you're going to get a ticket. You're going to get
Yep.
a citation. And so if that helps clear it up, that's good. Complaint, a little less formal, still a formal process. It's generated by an employee to OSHA. OSHA sends that complaint to you sanitized. Do not have a right to know which employee, who that employee is. You can't retaliate against the employee.
Right.
You just need to address the issue. And so maybe you already addressed the issue, but that employee is not in knowledge. That goes back to communication, right?
Mhm.
Got to be transparent about what's going on. And if there's something wrong, try to fix it. If you can't fix it, why can you not fix it? You know, is it time? Is it mud? Is it budget? Is it something else? What is it about that you can't abate that hazard? And there's a lot of ways to abate hazards, and sometimes we just don't like the solution. I tell that to my daughter all the time. There's always an answer. You just don't like the answer, right?
Right.
There's always an
Right.
answer. You just
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's the same thing. We're in America. We have freedom. We just don't like the consequences of our freedom. You can do anything you want in America, but you have to
Yep.
also pay the piper and, you know, suffer the
Free,
consequences. You don't
the
have to work so much.
freedoms have consequences.
Yep,
Exactly.
exactly. So that goes
Yeah.
into our fault versus responsibility conversation. Check that out online. But complaint
Right.
versus citation. Citations, you're paying fines. Complaints, the start of the process, getting you towards the penalties. Most times you write a response to the complaint and it goes away. And that's it. That's the last you'll ever hear of it. It's again, like I said, OSHA is saying, hey, we received this. We don't want to come out, so we're sending you a letter. Please respond. And so do what you're supposed to do and respond in a timely fashion. And that
Yep.
will address most of it. Don't forget to, I don't know if you got anything else to add to that, Matt. Good. I'm ready to close out already. I'm like, hey, don't
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah. I think you hit on all the important parts there, Steve. I think the one thing I just kind of want to put an exclamation point on is the importance of that internal communication component within
Oh,
your organization and having that good faith attitude of I have a safety condition I need to address. To the best of my ability, I'm going to address it.
yeah.
But yeah, if your employees don't feel like they can come to you to have something addressed, then or you don't have a process set up in place for that communication to happen anonymously if needed, then you're going to expose yourself to the possibility of more of these complaints. So
Yeah. It just reminds me when you say that of so Matt and I went out, we did this training. And again, it's a defensive driver training. I love it. It just brings out the whole can of worms. So
right.
we go out and we're like, okay, the last 10 minutes of the course is you guys doing your pre-trip vehicle inspections. Go out. This one guy calls over, says, hey, you know, they never make us do this. I complained about this before. My vehicle needs this. I mean, you've seen, we've seen bald tires on things.
Mm-hmm.
Seat belts don't work. Like, why is this not fixed? You know, this is, you're driving, you're putting a guy on the road. That's a law
Yeah.
to have a seat belt.
This isn't a blanker that's not working. This is serious. You are going through the window. You are flying off the road
Right.
types of stuff.
Yeah. And so then, you know, I'm in there and I'm listening to the gentleman, and everything he's telling me is 100% correct. I can see it. I'm right there. Seatbelt doesn't work.
Right.
You know, yeah, they don't have a pre-trip inspection form and they haven't been doing it. Why not? Right. We get the complaints that, oh yeah, the motors are burning up. You know, we're taking this guy off. So then, following the training, this is what Matt's talking about. Good faith. Following the training, they go, oh hey, so all the guys leave, and then the the director comes over and he says, hey, we saw you talking to so and so. He's a real poop disturber and blah 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 blah. All negative about this guy. What were you guys talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, is he a poop disturber? Or is he just telling you what you need to hear and you don't like it? Because everything he told me was in a rational manner. He wasn't screaming and yelling. He's pointing out safety hazards that he's concerned about because you're putting them in a truck and making them drive with all this heavy crap down the road around schools, potentially run into some student, and it's a problem. So now he's a problem employee because he wants to keep safe.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you wonder why you get the OSHA complaint. Well, I can tell you, we went over and did vehicle inspections. We're consultants. There's so much I can do. I can tell you about the problem. I can identify it. I can point it out. I can even say this truck's out of service. But as soon as I leave and you tell the person to drive it again, what am I supposed to do about it?
Right.
So how many times have we looked at it and the seatbelt doesn't work, and we say this vehicle's out of service, can't use it, and then we go back and it's still seatbelt's out of service, and they're driving the truck, and you go, okay, so this guy driving the truck's the a-hole, and
Right.
you're wondering why he's calling OSHA. How much is the seatbelt mechanism? Even if it's $300, big deal.
Right. Exactly. The cost, I mean, even just attaching financial cost to an accident, the liability that's attached. And that's a very cold, calculated accounting way of looking at it,
Sure.
but it's more than $300. But then when you bring in the human element, it's your employee, it's someone's life. That even moves it beyond that. So, okay, so it's financially you're putting yourself at risk, and you're also putting your employee at risk of life and limb.
Yeah. And their entire family.
Yeah.
It's it always bothers me when people point the finger at an employee. Oh, this guy's a problem. This guy's a problem. Okay, why is he a problem? Because he's raised his hand and said, I have this safety concern and it needs to be addressed. And it's a real safety concern, or it's not a safety concern. Because I've seen those employees too, where they try to make something out of nothing. But I'll tell you what, them making something out of nothing, I don't see very often at all. I can probably go back in this since we started this company in 2000. I put this concept in motion in December of 2011 and officially finalized it in January of 2012. The point being there, it's been 12 years now.
Yes.
And I can tell you less than 3 times have I had somebody that is causing problems for no reason.
Right.
Most of the time you go in and you start looking at it and you say, well, okay, did they talk to you? Oh yeah, well, they did talk to you. Oh yeah, they talked about it. Well, so what'd you do? Well, we're out here it starts. It's the same thing with the kids, right? It's like, did you do that? Well, Johnny, da 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 da. So you did it. Okay, I gotcha. It's very easy to see. And you just go, okay, so you've been riding this guy for 5 years, making him feel like an idiot, and all he wants is a working seatbelt. Is that a problem? Like,
Right.
I just had this conversation with somebody about a vendor, and they're doing this all the time. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like, okay, you need to go away because it's not worth the headache. You're complaining about him. He's complaining about you. He says you said this, you said that. Like, too much. Just Get a new vendor, someone that's going to do what you're supposed to do.
Oh,
And again, like I'm very clear on the vehicle safety. Matt will tell you he's pulled in with the tail light out, and I've sent him
yep,
directly to where he needs to go to get that fixed and get it
yep,
fixed.
yep.
And we've had arguments about like, hey, the training's supposed to start. I don't care, you're not driving on this property until that's fixed. Because again,
Again,
if you don't provide proper notification to the person behind you that you're starting to brake, you might get rear-ended. You may cause an accident. I mean, there's a lot that goes on with that, and it's simple, and it's stupid. A lot of times, like, it's just a light bulb. Yeah, it is. But when I'm on a motorcycle and I'm forced onto the right side of your vehicle, and you start to brake and I don't see it, that's a problem.
Yep.
And that causes trouble down the road. And it goes back to the mental capacity of all this. I mean, we should do this on defensive driver, but the mental capacity. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? Because you think that mentally you're better than that person. You need to get it done faster. The rules don't apply to you. All that stuff, and all of it causes more problems than not. So
yep.
that being said, citation versus
We really got off on a tangent
yeah,
there,
we
Steve.
did, but it's an important one. You know that. So, yeah, that's it. We have a lot of great things. We have all of our courses out on Udemy and Dollar Training Club. I highly encourage you to check out Dollar Training Club. It's starting to get a lot of traction. We have our workplace violence prevention program on there. See where I put that? There it is. Matt did some training. I did some training. It complies with our new SB 553 standard. We have scissor lift. We have aerial lift, forklift, all that good stuff. And for all those that like to go out into nature, Matt and I are doing a little Halloween, just a little Halloween fun ride out to Lake Kachuma. Clients are invited. We're just going to go out there and try and fish. Matt's going to teach us how to catch a fish. And we're going to have a little fun at the dockside bar and grill called Hooked. The food was good there, actually, last time we were out.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I love their fries.
The fries were good.
I like it when you get those fries just a little bit crispy, not crazy crispy,
Yeah.
but just a little bit crispy, and they do that really well.
They do it well. Yeah, that was good. Pui had a hot dog, didn't she? And
She did.
She said that was really good. So
It was actually. I had one too. So
yeah.
I back her up.
What did I have? I had the dip, the French dip.
Yes. Yeah, you had the French
good.
dip.
So
Yep.
yeah, we're looking to have a good time out there. Gonna take a little country ride through the back roads, and Matt's gonna be in a support vehicle. But yeah, we'll smoke some cigars, have some food. Drink responsible. If you do that, I do not, but I'll have a club soda and an iced tea and a lemonade. and I'm gonna try and catch a fish. That's for sure.
There you go. There you go. I'll definitely try as well. We'll see about the results though.
Yeah. Well, we both hooked one, but we didn't quite reel them in. That was so
just didn't bring them in.
So frustrating. All right. Well, that's all we got. Stay safe out there.
See you guys.